All right. Hey, man, how you doing?
What up? What up?
Today is a day for drums.
Every Tuesday at 8 o'clock is a day for drums.
That's right. That's right. How you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm actually set up in my house, see if we get a better internet connection. Welcome, everyone.
All right. All right. So, yeah, I know you got a couple of things you want to talk about. I do as well. So I know you wanted to talk about your drum key. I've been eager to see this because I've been thinking of buying one myself. Show it to me. I want to see it.
Yes, so I'm going to go over one that I've already shown, but this is because I didn't know one of the features. But this is a Revolution Firefly, and it is basically a so it obviously ratchets. So one side it'll ratchet to I guess this is Titan. Maybe no, this is Lucent. Okay, and then you flip it over. And this side is to Titan. So one side goes counterclockwise, one side goes clockwise. But what's really cool is, and I saw this on a video, you can actually, as your finger tightening the tension rod, you can just turn this.
Interesting.
And then get, and it actually has some grip. And I think this actually might work. I'm not sure if this works with a drill or not. It kind of looks like it might, but theoretically it would, but I know you can get like a drum drill bit or whatnot.
Right.
Light a little bit.
That looks really, really cool, honestly. I can think of a lot of situations just last week where I was trying to adjust some stuff on my snare drum positioning. So I was like underneath my snare drum, not wanting to move things around and in tight, tight quarters. That would have been really, really handy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only complaint I have, is the this part is a little heavy. So like on a key ring, it's a little bit like I put a lighter one on my key ring. I had Cherry Hill make me this one, which is super lightweight. This is like aluminum.
Right.
And then and then I bought this one a while ago as well, so you can kind of see like the wood grain on it.
Yeah, that is cool.
Which is pretty tight. And then I have another one, a bigger version of this one, as he was trying, because I was like, make me the smallest drum key you can. I was going to like wear it around my neck as a chain, but it ended up not being.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
It was pretty tight. But yeah, definitely pick this up. I think this was like $20 or something, maybe. But it's like, I can't imagine like doing anything without it now. But here's the coolest thing.
Okay.
What up, man? How you doing, bro?
Cooler?
It gets cooler, yeah. So Revolution also makes this, which I have it to fit around my neck as a necklace. So if I play a gig, I'll just have it around my neck. Right. So if you look, it's got a tension rod at the end. Okay.
Okay.
And you unscrew the tension rod.
So it's like a spare tension rod?
No.
Oh, you thread it through there and it turns into a drum key. Is that what you're telling me? That is cool, dude. That's super cool. Where did you get that?
Revolution, same company. So
okay.
So now you have a drum key.
That's awesome. That's super creative.
So it's got, I don't know if my camera will actually zoom into that or not, but it's threaded inside.
Right.
So, but what's really cool is that it's, I always have these complaints. I'm kind of turning into like a drum key snob. I wish that this was like made of if this was made of aluminum and it was a little bit lighter, it would be a lot better.
Right.
But I still don't mind. Like it's nice. Like if I want to do stuff on the fly, I think the novelty is cool because it obviously takes a little bit. Like I could probably, as I'm turning it now, I can get in there quicker. But it's not. I think it's nice to kind of have as like a chain. You kind of have it around your neck for like gigs and practices and stuff like that. You don't have to like reach down. What up, Andy? How you doing, bro? So that's my drum key spiel. I really don't think you can have enough drum keys. I guess I have one that's on the side of my Speed Cobra that also has an Allen wrench on it for adjustments, but this is like on the fly. Oh, Ed, you missed the first part. We already went over like 3 of the Cherry Hill keys. So I got that one, and I got this one from Cherry Hill, and then I have another one that's a little bit bigger than this, so really, really lightweight. But yeah, Revolution drum key. And then since Ed missed it, the Firefly, it ratchets, and you can turn for finger tightening as well.
Yeah, that is cool. I think I'm going to get one of those, the ratchet drum keys. I'm really thinking about that. And let me tell you else, you turned me on to the stick shields, which I
Oh,
really think that I need, because I calculated how many sets of drumsticks I'm going through per month. And
yeah.
I'm going through 7 pairs of drumsticks a month. And
What the fuck,
that's
man?
7 pairs times, I think I get them for, I think they're $12. So that's, that's $84 a month that I'm spending on drumsticks that I could be spending on other things. I buy the drum shields and they last a lot longer. So I think I'm going to get some of those as well. Elizabeth Sibley. That's my little sister, dude. That's my little
Nice.
sister. Elizabeth, hello. She's
Hi, George.
she's a pharmaceutical student in Memphis, Tennessee.
That's awesome.
She should.
She's finally supporting your podcast. Shame on you for not supporting the whole time. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that $86. Let's just call it $100 a month.
Right.
It's $1,200. So let's call it $1,000 a year that you're spending on drumsticks. I mean, that's kind of insane. But the biggest thing about Stick Shield too is it doesn't change the feel or the balance of the stick. So
right. Yeah, so I think that's really cool. I like the Stick Shield. I really like the ratchet drum key. That would be really useful. I really like pointing with these sticks. Apparently, I can't stop doing it. So moving on to the next thing, we were going to talk about double strokes. Okay. And there's 3 techniques that I was taught. 3 different ways to play double strokes. Okay. Mr. Heinhardt, welcome, buddy. So we got my super fancy practice pad here. You got 3 different ways to do double strokes, and I want to touch on one of them. I'll mention there's using your fingers. So using your finger to snap out the double, using just bounce, and then just doing 2 singles. Full wrist strokes. And the full wrist stroke is what I want to talk about today. And then I know you've got some stuff you want to talk about with doubles as well.
Yes.
So in regards to doubles, Thomas Lang taught me the way that he plays doubles, and he doesn't use the finger snap technique, and he doesn't use bounce until he gets up to around 200 BPM. The reason for this is that if he wants to, in a perfect world, you'd be able to play clean doubles on any surface regardless of rebound. And if you want to use the finger snap technique, and if you want to use the bounce technique, you're reliant on the rebound of the surface that you are playing on. However, if you're using all muscle to muscle out each individual stroke, then you're not reliant on the surface, and you can play a clean, accurate double on any surface. Most obviously would be floor toms, right? And that's what Thomas is really, 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 really good at, better than anyone I've ever seen. And he does this thing called the Stone Killer #2 exercise, where you play a stroke and then you accent the second. I know you mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
And everybody can look that exercise up. But what I wanted to talk about was the way that you pull that off at higher speeds. Because what I thought when I first started practicing that was I started doing kind of a molar technique where you do like a tap stroke and then whip out, the second stroke. So like this.
Yeah. Which looks like a lot of work, actually.
It is a lot of work. That's true. But it also is counterintuitive to what you're trying to achieve. The point of muscling out both strokes is to get both strokes at a high volume level. And so when you're whipping out the second stroke, what you're actually achieving is a quiet first stroke and a loud second stroke. That's not what you want. You want loud both strokes. So I ended up practicing that, and I've got loud second strokes. That's not the point. So what I started like really looking closely at his technique, and I asked him about it. What he actually does, Jeff, I mentioned this to you earlier, and now you can see what I'm talking about, is he does like a swiping motion or sweeping motion when he plays fast doubles.
Okay.
And it looks like he's going from French grip to German grip, which he kind of is, but that's not really the technique that he's using. What he's actually doing is, and I'm going to over-exaggerate the movement so it's obvious, is like a wrist stroke, and then he lifts his elbow out because when you move your elbow like this, it forces your wrist down. So he's wrist stroke and then rotating his forearm while simultaneously lifting that elbow. And that gives you that whipping motion, and it whips out that second stroke. And it allows you to play that second stroke and the first stroke loudly at very, very high speeds. And if you master that, and I have not mastered it, I've still got a lot of practice to do. But if you do master that, you can get to a point where you can play clean, accurate doubles without any rebound at all, up to around 190 to 200 BPM. which is where at that point you kind of, because of the laws of physics, have to swap to rebound at that point. But imagine being able to play clean doubles on a floor tom at 190 BPM. It's really, really cool.
That's sick, man. What up, Tyler? Yeah, so I know he has a Drumeo video. I know he has a couple of instructional videos on this. I wonder if maybe just watching his elbows, if it's really like you can kind of see like it's almost like a little dance, because there's no way you get that clean, because his doubles are probably the cleanest I've heard.
They are, yeah, and that's because he muscles them both out. It's full. He's not using any bounce. He's not using any fingers. It's literally 2 single stroke rolls back to back, even at high speeds.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So mine is I'm just gonna switch my camera real quick. I'm adjusting the wrong thing here. Hang on.
This is your home, your electronic, your e-kit, right?
Yeah. So I don't have it hooked up right now. I'm still like waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for with this, but I have a EAD10 and I have like triggers and stuff set up to where I could live stream, but I just haven't done it yet for whatever reason. So I will eventually though. So my way of practicing on a for double strokes, or my tip. Let me see if I can get my back a little bit so you can see my hands. Okay, so when you play, obviously when you start like a rudiment open to close, you start, and then you start speeding it up or whatever. I'm actually just gonna get rid of this. That's not working. So, well, I guess I should hold on the stick. Okay. So when you're playing a rudiment, you right? I mean, you just play that over and over again, whatnot. So there's a transition from when you let the sticks actually bounce, or when you actually stroke everything out and then you let them bounce. So you were talking about Thomas Lang muscles every stroke. I mean, that's going to be extremely difficult for most of us.
Extremely, yeah.
So what I recommend doing, and I might be able to get a better sound out of this pad, so you actually hear what the fuck I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So when you're playing the double stroke, start out at like a medium speed, and then once you get to the point where you can't stroke it out anymore, back off the tempo just a little bit. So I'm just gonna go and see where that is for me personally. So it's probably about right there.
So right there, you're playing full single strokes, right?
Yes. So about right. That's probably like 160.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty hard. I still kind of just want to let, and you can kind of see like when you're actually bouncing it, because your hand movement will get a little bit more airy, and you'll stop seeing this.
Yeah.
You'll stop seeing every single note. So like this is full bounce. Obviously, is just you kind of see like a as opposed to you see the little wrist motion. So what I recommend is staying there right before you let the sticks bounce. Maybe even like 5 clicks slower than that.
Okay.
And then go to the bounce tempo. So maybe like 5 to 10 clicks faster.
Yeah.
Then go to 5 clicks faster than that. So you have then the second thing, then the third thing. And I'm actually like, I don't know about you, but I like close up the gaps in my hand when I play faster double strokes.
Yeah, I tighten up on your grip a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. And then if you want to get a little bit more, like the middle fingers can give you a little bit more beef. If you kind of involve like the middle and ring finger, but like mostly what I hear in my own playing and other people's playing too is once you get to specific tempos with double stroke rolls, it starts to sound like shit. So if you have a nice smooth transition, I think there's also a difference between playing open to close and being able just to stay at 160 without being like, ow, my hand's cramping up. You have to like stop. You know, you can just play that forever.
Right. What Vader sticks are you using? Somebody in the chat's asking.
Manhattan 7A, baby.
7A? Those are small sticks, dude.
Yeah, this is what I used to use. This is just for like suitcase kit and my home kit. I use 5As. I use really fat sticks for the studio, but fat sticks with stick shield, they last forever. So, but yeah, these will obviously break pretty fast. But yeah, that's pretty much my spiel. I would say if you had to practice one thing, just get and also that's a great warm up too. Wherever and it might be slower for other drummers. It might be like 135 is what Maybe maybe people will start letting it bounce, which is kind of hard at that tempo just to let it bounce. But maybe right here you let it bounce.
Yeah.
So you want to pull it back a little bit and just stroke every note out. But eventually you build up to. I think an actual goal, and then I'm going to digress out of this. But an actually good goal would say, okay, if I can stroke it out at 160, next month I want to be able to stroke it out at 165, and the following month I want to be able to stroke it out at 170 to where, like then you can hit the Thomas Lang level where you're, because if you look at the pad, it's like jumping off because I'm trying to muscle every single note. That's really freaking hard. But yeah, so that's double strokes in a nutshell.
I think that's really interesting. And I know you were talking about bounce a second ago, and I wanted to mention something. Jojo Mayer mentioned in a YouTube video I watched once about bounce and about how even at lower tempos, playing doubles at like 100 BPM, which would be, that it's a really good idea to practice bounce doubles that way, even at those slower tempos, even though you don't need to, because learning how to control bounce at the slower tempos is really hard, but it greatly improves your technique. So if you think of like 100 BPM, like it doesn't sound great because the first stroke is audibly louder than the second, but the point of the exercise is not to sound great, it's to learn how to control bounce. So those are like all bounce.
Yeah, that's actually interesting, and I have the wind belt pad too, and I know Mike has one too. What up, Rick? How you doing, bro?
Jen, hello.
This is a no bounce surface, so this is basically like practicing on a pillow. It also has a mount for a cymbal stand. It was kind of bouncing all. It wasn't really giving me the tone I wanted, but this is perfect for what you're talking about, like surfaces that don't have rebound.
Yeah,
because you're actually developing your wrist stroke. And I swear, if you look at Thomas Lang, I mean, you can see each individual note. Like he is literally stroking it out.
He is. I
think we said stroke on this in the last 5 minutes, like 100 times.
His forearms are ripped, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like you shake his hand, dude. His forearms are shredded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know he's like a gym rat too. So
he is. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to show my suitcase kit.
Absolutely.
So for y'all, and actually, I don't know if Ed is still on, but Ed at Drum Flip actually sold me this suitcase. So if you guys have seen my Instagram videos, there's a couple of them on the actual suitcase kit. I'm just going to fix my camera so you can see. Point it down a little bit.
That's so cool that it's in a suitcase, man. That's so creative.
So, so this is the front. Obviously, you have the kick port and the high intensity brackets where these hold the floor tom legs. But everything fits in here except for the drum throne, which I'm sitting on right next to me. And I picked this up for I think it was around it was like $250 or something like that. Okay. So
that's not bad.
But I've bust with it a million times. So here's the other side. So you can see the kick pad. I have a super thin kick pad on there. There's probably put another one on there because it's kind of kicking through. And then there's a doorknob or a door hinge on the bottom, that you mount the bass drum pedal on. So I'm not going to set the full thing up, but I just want to give you kind of like a sneak peek on it.
Okay.
So on this side, pull this forward.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have-
that's the pedal in there.
Yeah. Actually, I picked up this cheap drum set for like $100, and I was actually able to fit the pedal in there. So you got to have a bass drum pedal that obviously breaks down. So with these little hinges on it. But then this sets up pretty good. And then I have a wooden beater because the wooden beater actually gets a better tone off the side of the suitcase.
Right.
Then just assorted shit in here. This is what I mount my cowbell with, just standard PDP tom mount. I have a this is actually a cowbell mount but it's for the snare. The snare's on the other side. I'll show you that in a second. This is a another pretty cheap PDP hi-hat stand, but as you can see, it has the little metal things on it that you can kind of collapse it down. But this,
Right.
I think I got this new at Guitar Center. It was like $80 or something, so it wasn't too bad. The floor tom legs, they actually came with the suitcase, so that's good. They fit the bracket. And then I have kind of a this is where things get a little bit more tricky. So this is actually a like a cymbal stand that actually mounts on the top of the. You can see those little screws. It's supposed to mount on the top of the cymbal stand with a multi-clamp. And this is a timbali mount because this actually will go on the other side of the floor tom leg. So as the floor tom leg holds it up, this will go on top of that. So you just need to kind of throw it together. You can use that kind of apparatus. Otherwise, you can use the standard LP claw, and this is what I mount like my my little stack that I'm going to show you in a second. But this also mounts, see a little bit closer, that part right there mounts onto the floor tom leg.
Okay. That's the fact that you can fit all that in there is awesome.
Yeah, it actually it's a little on the heavy side actually, but I mean, all things considered, it's pretty dope to just like load up the car. I've mic'd this thing up before too. Sounds great. You use the EAD10 on it. Sounded good. Switch this around, show you this side. So obviously, okay, so one thing real quick, if you're thinking about getting one of these, definitely is good to get, I would say, a wider one, because then you might be able to fit like the drum throne, obviously the width of that.
Right.
If you can fit that, like, and you have to mind that as well. But that's the only downside. I wish that I could have the whole thing in one.
Right.
Get us a little closer. Okay. So this is the snare. This is a LP. I'm sorry, it's not LP. It's a Meinl Timbali snare drum. So it's got the snare wires inside.
Right.
So you can have or you can have push it in and you can make it Timbali, which is kind of cool. Like, because I used this for a drum circle the other day, and some of the stuff like the backbeat wasn't really hitting as much as like the snares off. The timbali fit more of the. This is a Creative Percussion hex stack, so it's actually just 4 like metal pieces that are put together, and it actually had jingles, but the jingles weren't really fastened on there. That
right,
like a nice little like a ribbon crasher sound, and that's what I mount on the LP claw. We got a splash cymbal, and then I experimented with this guy. I had my buddy make this, and then just for fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's got like jingles on it. This is the top of a Meinl stand hat.
Right.
And then I mount this on top of this crash, and make like a little effect cymbal, but it kind of reins in the crash a little bit.
Right.
Crash is a little loud. And then hi-hats and That's it. So there's room for more stuff. I mean, a little bit, but once everything is kind of going, I mean, honestly, it's enough. Like, there's not really a need for more sounds, but I know some people have done. Some people have added like a rack tom. You could do that. I mean, there's pretty much endless possibilities. And you also have to kind of map out, like, sometimes I still try to get everything in. Like, you kind of have to make sure that what it's going to close is the biggest challenge. So if you can get it to close every time, this is good. But yeah, I've used this for, let's see, I've used it for some bar gigs. Oh wow, I think I got it. I've used it for some bar gigs. I've used it outside to bus. I've used it for a few Instagram videos, just kind of play around, you know, if you have like a lower volume gig. But there it is, the trusty suitcase.
That is so incredibly cool. I know I've seen a lot of your excuse me, a lot of your Instagram videos with that kit, and it's so creative, dude. I love that. I love that you can take it anywhere easily. Like, you're just carrying around a drum set, you know, and you know, no big deal. Just carrying a drum set around, you know.
I mean, really, if you could find like a curb to sit on or something, you wouldn't even need a drone. You could just take this. And actually, I was thinking about talking to Ed, because if I could put some wheels on the bottom, like drill some holes for like some of those detachable wheels, I could put the wheels in it and then just kind of wheel it like a carry-on. Right. You know, like at the airport, you know, it would be much easier to schlep around. But yeah, it is a little on the heavy side, but it works.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. I've never messed with anything like that before myself, because I didn't even know that it was possible to fit a drum set in a suitcase. But I think that's absolutely fascinating.
Now you know. It is possible.
Yeah. I wish I lived in a big city like that, where I could, you know, go play on the sidewalk and stuff like that. I live in a small town, so that's not really a thing I can do. But if I lived in you know, Houston or Austin or something like that, I would totally be doing that. That'd be a lot of fun.
I think you still could. I mean, don't sell yourself short. You could find a musician to, you know, I've jammed with like guitar players and stuff like that before too, and I think it's just a matter of finding out where and with who.
Sure.
But yeah, it's fun. Like sometimes, I mean, like solo, like I made a video just out in the park, you know, with the suitcase kit.
Yeah.
Just for fun. So I mean, you can have it just for fun. But like coffee shops and stuff, like coffee shops are usually pretty anti
noise.
They don't want you to bring in a drum set. But if you bring in that, and then you have like the lightning rod sticks or whatever, like you could really be low volume but actually still contribute something. Yeah. And not because fuck cajones, man. I don't want to get into that, but
I've had to do that before as well. I've had to do that before as well because of volume, you know, and like I'm just not. Cajones are cool, you know, like I don't think cajones are bad, but like people want to substitute the cajon for the drum set. They're two separate instruments, you know. It's like substituting a guitar with a ukulele. Both of them are valid, but the ukulele can't really do what the guitar can do, you know. Yeah. So you know.
Good stuff. If you have a suitcase in mind, I know you're pretty savvy at generally stuff, mixing and drums and everything. So I wouldn't put it past you to try this on your own either. I mean, if you have, because you can go. I know Ruben Spiker from Drumeo had a how-to video on. He made his own. Like he made a video live. But if you just want to go to a thrift store, like I'm sure some people are watching, they're like, well, I'm not going to spend $250 on that, and then have to have all the accessories. Like most drummers, like if you even play for a while, you have like a bunch of random shit, like random stands and random like parts and, you know, whole pieces of kit. Whole cloth, a big box or a big organizer. Like I always have a plastic organizer full of random shit. And put that to good use. I mean, you can go to the thrift store. You don't need a kick for it. I just put it in there because it's cool to be able to mic it if I really wanted to use that live.
Right.
Like if I had it in my car and somebody's like, "We are playing on the world's smallest stage." Well, I mean, what better kit to use? You know what I mean? Because if you mic it up, I can still put real cymbals on there. I still have a real snare. The only thing that's artificial on this kit is the suitcase. Yeah. And if there's anything to be artificial, I'd want it to be the kit. Because you can mic it and turn that shit up. You know, it's fine. And it's going to sound great. But if you want to go find a suitcase that you like, you just need to drill holes for the hinge for the bass drum pedal, and you need to drill holes for the brackets. That's the only holes you need to drill into. Everything else you can manage, and then you need the high intensity brackets, and then just basic floor tom legs. I mean, you could probably throw it together yourself for like half the price, but I was just like, I don't feel savvy enough to do it. Like I'm not that handy. I feel like I'd fuck up the suitcase and then have to pay somebody. Anyway.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm probably going to look into that. That is cool. But I know you wanted to talk about cameras as well. I think cameras is a really good topic because you really nowadays, if you want anybody to know about you, you have to film yourself and put it on the internet. You know.
Yes.
Gone are the days where you could just kind of play in local areas and get known that way. You kind of have to have a presence on the internet, and that means that it's important to have at least a basic knowledge of cameras and camera functionality. And I know you wanted to talk about some stuff in regards to that, like depth of field and various other settings. I know you use a GoPro. I use some GoPros as well. I also have some camcorders. I say camcorders. I only have one. And then I have a DSLR, which is, for those of you that don't know, it's like just a higher quality camera. And I use a lot of those for my drum videos. And I know you use some GoPros. How are you feeling about the GoPros so far? Are they working for you okay?
It's working for me. It's not as high quality as I wanted. I think, honestly, the biggest thing, so I'm not talking everybody's ear off for the next like 10 minutes on this. Lighting is way more important than everything.
Absolutely.
Like I have my light right now. Like my picture looks really solid. I'm using a Pixel 3, but it's on the front camera. But I think the quality I'm getting right now is because I'm not too close to the camera. So I don't have this happening where it's like, it'll zoom in and zoom out like that. The auto zoom doesn't, so you have to be back far enough away. So it actually captures it, but you also need enough light to where it should be kind of like too much, because you can always turn it down, not too much. But lighting is huge. So you can use a shitty camera and get away with it for lighting. But
sure, yeah.
Direct answer about the GoPro, it's okay. It overheats really fast. Yep. You can only use it for about 45 minutes.
Yep.
And it doesn't really capture true 4K. The quality is very high, but what I want to do is I want to do like blurred background. And so that's depth of field. You can't do that with a GoPro. So we were talking about using like iPhones, I feel like are the best out of the box for video. The videos I've seen that are just the iPhone, they can shoot 4K, 60 FPS, and they're amazing. I really think Pixel supposedly has the best camera, but iPhones are great. I'm looking at a DSLR with an actual lens, and that would be $1,000 to $1,500. So it's just a matter of, do you just want to use what you have, or do you want to buy something middle of the road like a GoPro, or do you want to buy something like high end? So my question for you is, what is your DSLR, and how did you decide which one to get?
Yeah, so that's a good question. A lot of people underestimate the value that you can get out of phone cameras, because 10 years ago people were doing that and phone cameras were not good, and so it just always looked bad. Nowadays a lot of people assume that that's still the case, but in reality phone cameras have improved a ton, and there's a lot of really, really high quality phone cameras. For those of you watching, I don't want y'all to think that if you use a phone camera your quality is going to be bad, you need to upgrade. I mean, certainly you can upgrade, and DSLRs are objectively superior, but the phone camera's not bad. You can get a lot of mileage out of a phone camera. They do good frame rates. They have good resolutions. They're easy to work with, and you already have one because most people already have a phone. If you're watching this, then you already have one because you're watching it on a phone. So, but to answer your question, I have a Canon 80D. The way that I decided on what I wanted was I looked at a couple of different YouTubers that have like camera quality that I wanted to replicate, and then I looked up what they were using, and the majority of them were using the Canon 80D. So I figured if I want to look like YouTuber X, then I need to have YouTuber X's camera, and so I bought YouTuber X's camera.
May I ask how much that camera was?
It was $1,100 plus tax.
Okay.
Brand new. You could probably get a used one for significantly less than that. They look really nice. Those are not the best of the best, but they're like they're kind of like an intro to high quality cameras. You can get a lot of really good mileage out of it. You get tons of very high quality picture. You can do depth of field, which is really, it comes down to aperture length, which is a camera setting. You can do all that manually, or you can do individual like automated settings that will set it for you. So I could say, I want this snare drum to be in focus, and then I want the background around it to be out of focus, so I can focus on that one area, and it'll blur everything that's not the snare drum, and then you can adjust how much. It's really, really good, especially for the price point. A lot of people underestimate the cost of cameras.
He said in the chat intro, because I think I know what he's saying too, that's the intro. You just need to spend $1,000 to get the intro.
Exactly. And that's my point. Miss Fortune, welcome, buddy. Miss Fortune's a friend of mine. But
that's the nature of the beast, though.
So cameras are the most expensive piece of equipment you'll usually get. If you're someone that's making actual content. I mean, like I said, $1,000 gets you like an introductory level DSLR. Now you can certainly get stuff less than that, but I would consider that kind of on the slightly below average super quality cameras. Like if you really want to get the best of the best, you're going to look at like a Red digital camera. Those are $50,000. And those are not even cinema quality cameras like they use on the cameras you see that are feature length films are filmed with are $250,000. So $1,000 nothing.
So let me ask you this. So for your Canon, you can always upgrade your lens, right? I mean, if you wanted higher quality, and did it come with a lens, or did you have to buy a lens separate?
It does come with a lens. I'm currently using the stock lens, but the quality of the camera really comes down to two things: the lens you're using and the sensor that the camera uses. The lens, of course, determines kind of where the light is focusing, and then the sensor determines how it translates that light and turns it into a picture, right? So that's if you're going to upgrade, you're either going to upgrade your lens or you're going to upgrade your sensor. And lenses can be aftermarket. You can buy different lenses and put them on a camera. The sensor is built into the camera, so if you want a nicer sensor, you got to get a nicer camera. So that's kind of what you're looking at: combination of lens and camera.
So I think I'm going to buy that Canon, just because I'm all about buying equipment that somebody else already has.
That's what I did, because it works already.
So I can cut my learning curve way down, because that's the biggest thing. Like I don't want to spend any time. Like I'm thinking about learning Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine uses it. I mean, you use it as well. So I mean, there's definitely like support. If I get stuck or something. But yeah, that's a conversation for another time about video editors. But there's a lot that goes into this production. It's just like a regular movie, and it's like I feel like you can cut corners on a lot of drum stuff, but you just can't really cut corners on the camera, and you can't really cut corners on like your anything hardware related. You should almost get that shit first.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes for sure, and also
maybe upgrade your set later once you have all that figured out. Like that makes more sense to me now. But
another thing I want to mention though, in regards to the Canon 80D that you need to be aware of before you buy it, is the Canon 80D does not have something called clean HDMI out. So what that means is if you've ever seen like a 1990s, video recording, it's got like the blinking recording light in the bottom right of the picture, and it's got the little focus box, and it's got like the date, that no one's ever set. It always says 12 o'clock on January 1st. Those are all like overlays that are part of the picture. And if you want to be able to show something that doesn't have those overlays, the camera has to feature something called clean HDMI out, which means you can plug an HDMI cable into it and you can get a video signal without those overlay features. The Canon 80D cannot do that. So if you want to do video and record the video and then upload it later, then it's fine. It won't have that. But if you're talking about live streaming video, it will have those overlay stuff. So if your goal is to be able to live stream with this camera, then this is not the direction you need to go. But if you're talking about only filming videos, it's perfect.
I was thinking about live streaming with the GoPro and then use the 80D for or whatever the DSLR is for like studio Instagram recordings and like band.
Then that'll be fine. Yeah. The GoPro.
I just need to come up with $1,100.
Sure, man.
So
when you figure out where you got it from, let me know.
All right, cool. I think that about wraps it up for us this week. I appreciate everybody tuning in. It was good stuff. Any questions about anything we talked about, you can always hit us up. I think we had some plugs for Revolution drum keys and for Drum Flip. You can follow Drum Flip Ed. They always have really great specials on stuff. Check out the Canon 80D. Make sure you work on your double strokes and let us know if you have questions. What else you got, Nick? Is that about it?
That's it. I think you covered all the bases.
All right, man. Next week, 8 o'clock,
Yep, sounds good.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, or whatever the other time zones are. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys. See you later, man.
Later.